Welcome to the TAE Aerospace Ipswich Jets after the 80, proudly brought to you with thanks to the Ipswich Jets Leagues Club, the heart of our community and a huge supporter of rugby league in Ipswich, and of course your Jets. Today we're back at the Leagues Club and with a tough, talented Ipswich Jets local with a story of resilience, leadership and heart. From junior footy with the Fastball Bombers to overcoming 3 ACL injuries, his journey through the Jet system is a living definition of what it means to never give up. In our chat, we'll get him to open up about his sometimes difficult path through rugby league, the people around him, and what's now and also what's next. So Jet number 627, Mitch Harsant, welcome.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
So let's, mate, first of all, talk about the weekend. You had a dominant 44-20 win over Norse, but you went out to 16-0. They got that back to 16-10 going into the Jets. Then you came out and put a score on them at the second half, but even then they came back towards you. So what was Star saying to you at half time to kind of make sure your head stayed in the game?
I think we started really positive, really strong and played some of our best footy that first opening 15 to 20, but we sort of dropped away and just making silly errors and uncharacteristic penalties sort of led to Norse coming back there, and you could feel them coming for us a little bit, but we're just happy we could get into the sheds at halftime when we did, and we could compose ourselves and come out and have a scrappy second half, but we got the job done. So.
Now let's talk about Tarek Barty. He got our first try at the time in half. He passes it left, hits it back and over the line. For those people that don't know, he originates from North Queensland. He came through the Townsville Blackpool Colts. He played a bit of rugby union, came through the Clydesdale system, and I believe that he played a bit with Henry Stocks up there in North Queensland too. So it's fair to say he's a talented lad.
Yeah, Reedy's unreal. I love playing with him. He's always working hard on building those combinations and like talking at training about what you can be doing on the weekend to win against your opponents. So I love playing with him.
Now we'll go in order of things happening, and it's we can look back at this now and laugh, but we'll talk about Cody Hamilton, fullback. He got through a lot of bodies through 60 metres. I think off the scrum, he got to the very end and all fingers and thumbs and knocked it on. So how do you look back at that, and what does that look like on a replay?
Oh, that's going to look pretty funny. I think we've got a video review session Wednesday, so that will be, he'll get a few sprays about that one, but no, he did well to put himself in a good position to score, but yeah, couldn't get the chocolates in the end.
Now, your winger, Isaiah Penny, he scored 3 tries, and all three came to the second half. One of those tries was 4 pairs of hands, and then fast through the wing. Now he's one of those kids that's come up through our Malmalinga system. So, what's it like for you to look at those boys that you've come through that system too, to be performing at an A grade level?
Yeah, I think it's good. You've got to have sort of young talent coming through. And it's good to see young Jets sort of coming through the pathways, same as I did, and yeah, he's doing well for us this year. So.
And that win puts you second on the ladder, I think just behind Brothers after round 8. So how does it feel halfway through the year to be in that such a strong position?
Yeah, it's exciting. I have no real expectations for what was going to happen this year, but yeah, I can sort of see the end goal for this season, and it's obviously winning that premiership. So. I'm excited. You can sort of feel it building a little bit, but don't want to get ahead of ourselves or anything. But yeah, we're definitely playing a lot better than we were even a month ago. So.
And before we, I guess go into your journey a little bit. I mean, how big was that game for you? It was a lot of minutes for you. It's a bit sore coming into Monday, but how does that feel for you to play those minutes that you did?
Yeah, it's good. It was my first game back playing 80 minutes, so I mean. Slowly building. I think I first came back and started with 25 and I was absolutely gassed, but no, it's good. It's good back playing a full game, so hopefully I can keep building on that and get a bit more match fitness. That'd be nice.
So I think that's a great segue into talking about you. I mean, it's an interesting story, and as I touched on at the start, one of certainly facing adversity and coming through the other side, and we'll get to that. But first of all, let's deal with what are your first memories of playing rugby league and that connection to Fastball Bombers?
It's probably just playing out at Harrisville. That was my hometown where I grew up. It's where my mum and dad still live, and yeah, Dad coached me all through my juniors, and yeah, just rocking up to footy early morning Saturdays and taping the boots up and putting my mouth guard in and having my grandparents watch me and everything. That was always special. So.
And what kind of coach was your dad? Was he one that took on through, or was he super hard on you?
I think he reckons I was a bit of a rat bag when I was younger. Like I was just trying to be the class clown or whatever at training. But he says that later on I sort of matured a little bit, and he was harder on me than anyone. And he reckons I would sort of try and lead in my actions more so than just trying to like take the piss or whatever. So.
And again, we were talking before about that family connection, through the farm with your brother, as well. So that family connection is a really strong one in the Harsant name.
Yeah, definitely. Back before I was a Jet, you'd go to every Fastfern home game, and my brother would be there, and my mum and my grandma and everyone would be there, and it's special. It's something that'll always sort of matter to me.
So you've, as I said, you've played, I think, right back through to under sevens and upwards. So how important and what has community rugby league done for you as a player and shaping you as a person?
Yeah, I think it more so like builds you as a person, like shapes sort of the person you become. Like I've always been like Mitch the footy player. Like I love my rugby league. I've always loved it. So it's always sort of been my main sort of passion. So it's just so nice to be back playing, and I think there's always going to be a place for community rugby league. Like everyone has to start somewhere. So.
And I think when you're that close up to the fans, I guess they're your harshest critic and your biggest fans when you're right that close up to the fences and you hear every shout and every possible opinion given to you.
Most definitely.
So then let's take it through to the next stage. How did that transition from the Lotters come through to the Jet system, and what motivated you for that move?
I think I was just playing for Fastfern, and I was playing school rugby union for Ipswich Grammar School, and I got picked in the Mal Meninga squad. Actually got picked by Mark Bishop, Jets A Grade, and I played a couple of years at Mal Meninga for the Jets, and I was loving my footy, and 3 years of Colts, where I transitioned from 5'8" to back row, it was a good idea because I wasn't very good at 5'8", so obviously got brought through the cup system and everything as well, so it's good to never look back. So I love being at the Jets. So.
And what has that journey been like? I mean, again, we always do our best to obviously keep kids in the system, and that's the whole point of now. I guess even going earlier now with the Rise program with 13 to 15s, and now those age groups have changed slightly to the under 17s, under 19s, and then into Cup via, I guess, A Grade as well. So, what has that system been like for you? Like, is it a system that's worked and gets the best out of you?
I think so. Like you need, especially as a kid, you need goals to achieve. Like if you're a young fella playing rugby league in Ipswich, you want to be making those Rise squads, and then you want to be making the Mal Meninga squad, and you sort of need those goals to kick you along a bit, I think.
I'm sure you've got many highlights, but I'm sure one of those would be being captain of the Colts. What was that like, and what kind of leader were you during that time?
Yeah, that was very, very special to me. I guess I talk a fair bit like out on the footy field, but I do try and lead with my actions, so that's what I always tried to do. But it was a good year when I got to captain the Jets. That was special to me. So.
Since then, obviously that competition is now being pushed to the wayside a little bit, and so we have that gap between under 19s and Cup. And obviously, as I said, Cup we've got A Grade, but that's very much an open age competition. So what's your view on that? I mean, again, when you look at it, from a kid coming through under 19s, like, do you see that that's a gap in that development area, or how do you see it now as a pathway through under 19s?
I think there's still definitely a pathway with playing A Grade footy and then playing Cup after that. But I personally love the Colts system, and I love playing Colts. It was an exciting competition, and I wouldn't mind seeing it come back. But
and then talking highlights, out of that, you made your Hes Plus Cup debut in 2022. So again, what was that like for you and for the family?
Best day of my life. It was great. It was very, very special. I had all my best mates out to watch, all my family, my partner Hayley. It was a very good day. It it meant a lot because my dad's obviously put so much time into my footy, and then like my mum as well, she's been really supportive, and like to finally sort of, for them to get to see you achieve something that you've wanted to achieve for so long, it was very special.
And when you say best day in your life, you mean the second best day in your life other than meeting Hayden?
Yes, of course.
We'll edit that bit out, mate, so that's fine. So, one of the things that we've tried to do over, and again, sometimes logistics doesn't always allow, but we try to get our A grade to train with the Host Plus Cup squad. I mean, it's, one of those things that you can find yourself in Cup or sometimes, playing for A grade. So, what is that? How does that go for your game? What's it like being surrounded by? We've got a lot of local Ipswich talent now playing up. But also, ties brought a lot of those winning talent into the system too. So, what's it like for your game to be surrounded by some of those great names we've got playing for Cup?
Yeah, it's good. I think for me personally, it helps my development. Like being able to train with guys like Blake Lenahan and Brett Brenke. Like they've played a lot of footy and they've played a lot of Cup, and you can learn a lot if you're willing to take what they have on board. Like what they have to say on board. So I enjoy it.
And then looking across, the paddock and looking at your A grade side as well as Cup. Like who are some of those key names that again people may not be familiar with, that you think is worth keeping an eye out for?
Probably one from this year that's really impressed me is Ollie Pascoe. He's been killing it. He looks like an NRL player every time he takes the field. So it's been very exciting having him at the club, and he's killing it. So he's probably the main standout for me.
And I guess he's a great story from the fact that we talked earlier about, and it's a great attitude to have. The fact that you play for your worth, and if you're good enough, you'll play Cup. And what Ollie's proved, I guess, as well, is that we have a great for the Titans, and he's proved he's good enough to be that Neville now is training, week in with the Titans too. So even I guess from your perspective, that backs up that statement where it's good to have the belief that if you are good enough, you can get to each level of football.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've talked about your captain days. We've talked about you debuting for the Host Plus Cup. Is there another memorable game or moment during your time that stands out to you?
Some of the away wins, they're pretty special when you can win away, especially when you're flying, and you get to stay there that night and celebrate with your teammates. Had a couple good win in Mackay. That was pretty special. But yeah, and then obviously my Cup debut, that's probably the most special one for me, but yeah.
I don't think a follow-on question is not going to be tell us about one of those nights you went out with boys somewhere and tell us a story from that. I think we'll put that one for
stayed in that night.
We'll put that one for the after the 120 whenever we do that. Now one of the things again, you've touched on it, and I referred to it at the start that you faced 3 ACL injuries, 2 knee constructions, all in the last 3 or so years. We've I guess in the last couple of weeks, we've spoken to Nikki Cox, who's again gone through her fair share of injuries, and Brett Brenke, again, something that's synonymous to his game is how he's navigated that path through injury. But you've come through extremely devastating set of injuries in such a short period of time. So how do you stay motivated and focused during those times of recovery?
I'd be lying if I said it was easy. It's just you've got to take it one step at a time. Like you get your knee worked on, you can't walk, you think you'll never be able to straighten your leg again, and then within a week or two you're starting to tense your quads and your hamstrings. Like just little steps like that. You've got to take it one step at a time and not look at the big picture, because if you look at the big picture, you're just going to be down about it. So.
And I mean, what did you have? Because I think it's really important. Again, people will, players, athletes will be watching this and going through that right now. So did you have anything, is it just about short-term wins, or what did you help, systems did you use to navigate through those difficult times?
I think you need to remind yourself why you're doing it, like why you've got the surgery, why you want to be back playing. Like you need to have your reasons for doing it, or else you're not doing it for anything. Like I wanted to be back playing so I could make my family proud and see where I can get to with footy, and like I love footy, so like I'm only 23, so I've still got a lot of years left of footy hopefully. So.
And then let's take it to when you did step back onto the field. What were those emotions like when you suddenly realised, even for 25 minutes, just getting out there, playing with your mates, handling the ball, running okay. Obviously your game day fitness may not have been there, but certainly your passion and talent didn't go anywhere. So how did that feel for you? running on?
I was very, very nervous because I didn't want to get injured again. But it was a relief, sort of getting onto the field and getting back out there. And yeah, it's sort of since then it's just been mainly a confidence thing. Like the body's felt pretty good, but yeah, it's just getting that confidence back in my body to move the way I used to, and that's sort of been the biggest thing for me that I've probably struggled with, but I'm getting better at now, is just sort of backing myself and getting that confidence back in my body because I've had so long out. So.
And do you approach the game differently? I mean, when you've got, do you look at, yourself and be careful how you go into tackles, careful how players approach you? Does your confidence, but does your mindset and your psyche change a little bit in with all that in your head?
Yeah, I think it does. I think anyone that's been through like an ACL reconstruction, once you've recovered from it, it's always in the back of your mind how to not put yourself in those dangerous positions where you can potentially re-injure yourself. So it's something that I've been battling with a little bit, but it gets easier. But it's something that's always on your mind when you're like playing footy and training, especially. So.
And then now that fortunately you're able to reflect a little bit. What have those times taught you? About yourself and your approach to the game?
It taught me that I'm tougher than I thought I was. Like to get through what I've been through and to come out the other side and be playing footy, and like I'm proud of myself for that. Like there's a lot of times there where I thought I'd never be able to walk again. Like there's times where I thought I'd never play footy again. Like I've got to give it up, and I'm happy I persisted, and it's like no matter what competition I'm playing in, like I'm so grateful that I stuck to it, and I'm out the other end. So
I think that's a really good point, Mitch. I mean, I think that a lot of people don't necessarily take the time to pat yourselves on the back on the fact that you've faced adversity, you've come through the other side, you've had challenges, you've never you've been knocked down, you've got up, you've been knocked down, you've got up, and you've come to the other side. And I think it's a great message to communicate through to people looking on. But we talked briefly about Hayley, but I think she's a teacher. She's studying sport and exercise science, and we talked about your dad and your brother and your mum. So how have they supported you through the highs and lows of rugby league?
I think they've just always been there. Like my family's pretty close-knit family, and my brother's like my best mate, and they've always had my back. They can tell like when I've been down, and they've sort of helped me like on the mental side of things as well, like just to keep me positive and just to remind me like what I do it for, sort of thing. So. And
your brother's a very talented photographer.
Yeah.
Have you picked up that gene too, or are you just an iPhone guy?
I don't think so. I'm just an iPhone guy. He's tried to recruit me a couple of times because he's looking for photographers for some of his parties. But
okay, that's a quick pitch down there. Contact
photography. Get on board.
Love it. Yeah. So then, obviously through those mentors you've got in family, but is there anybody within the rugby league sector, or even just outside of that have you've seen as mentors that have shaped you both in your personal life and your rugby career?
Probably the biggest one's probably my dad. Like he's sort of always kept me accountable, and he's probably my harshest critic at times, which is what you want. He's probably the biggest one. But then just in terms of mentors, like Blake Lenahan and Brett Grenke, and then Tyler Coburn, who's at Souths now. He was, when I was coming through, when I first debuted in Cup, he was sort of my main mentor that I looked up to. So I think you've got to have those players in your squad and in your team when you're a young fella that you sort of look up to and want to be like, and that sort of drives you to be a better player. So
I think the great thing about your dad, again, your dad's somebody that I've known over many years now in the club. It's again the level of respect he has across the board. I mean, I think what's good about your dad is that he keeps you accountable, keeps me accountable. Make sure that anything that needs to be shared is shared, and he does it in the right way always for the best of the club. And so it's I guess that comes through you too. It must be proud for you to see your dad as well held in such high esteem.
Yeah. He refers to himself as a bit of a club legend now, which I think is a bit of a carry on, but.
You've just finished your apprenticeship as an electrician. Again, we like to touch on the fact that, again, maybe not an appreciation of the players that play at any level here as semi-professional athletes. In other words, you have full-time jobs, you also have to train, you also have to play, you also have to recover, and then you also have to work. So how do you balance up the demands of being an electrician with playing rugby league at this level?
I reckon it's like the hardest part of playing rugby league at this level. Sometimes you have easy days and coming to training is fun and easy and you're excited, but some days you couldn't think of a worse thing to do than go to training after a big 12-hour day on the tools. So it's not easy, but just got to do it, I guess.
I think let's take the opportunity to give a shout out to your employer, because I mean, again, maybe there's not perhaps the thought to give people that you work for a big shout out, because again, their support probably allows you even to be here right now.
Yeah.
But maybe to leave for training, maybe to take a day off to recover, or if you're injured, or even play rugby league and play an away game. Like how important is it to have a supportive employer, and maybe give them a shout out as well?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. Like my boss Bob's been very understanding with like my injuries and with footy and that. So coming from a rugby league background himself, so yeah, it's made it easier for me.
So you're gonna say Bob from
BSC.
Okay, excellent, good stuff. Now, through your A grade time, you're staying connected to the rugby league community. But how do you like stay involved, and how was it important for you to see, the Jets doing what they're doing within that local rugby league community?
I guess just going to local games and supporting where you can. And, I just like going. I like watching rugby league. So if I'm not watching NRL, I'm watching local league. So
yeah, and it's a strong breeding ground, isn't it, for players to come through, and I guess our encouragement is to register with local clubs, play local football, then to aspire to get to rep level. And I mean, again, you're a pretty good candidate for showcasing what exactly can happen if you're prepared to follow that path.
Yeah, definitely, it's a good pathway. So
Now, as you said, you're only 23. So what goals do you have for your rugby career and your own personal development, and then maybe beyond that, what's your life goals as far as where you want to take yourself?
Probably it's hard because this year my only real goal, like I don't really care what grade I'm playing, my only real goal is just to play footy again, so which I'm doing that at the moment, so fingers crossed I can stay injury free. But I suppose my goal with footy is just to see where I can get to and hopefully get back in the cup arena next year, maybe this year if it happens, but I'm not phased if it doesn't. So.
And then from a personal perspective, you want to obviously carry on with that electrician stuff, but also take on the farm and do that.
Definitely. Yeah, help Dad out where I can on the farm, and continue sort of growing as a Sparky as well. So.
I think again, from what I take from this, and it's a really good message, is that you've got it perfect, and with respect to having some short-term goals, so you can tick those off, because if you're just going for NRL stardom from a rugby league perspective, that's a long way off.
Yeah.
But if you can just get to the next week and make sure you stay injury-free, play your best football, the rest will take care of itself. Is that a fair?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, well look, Mitch, we hope you stay injury-free. I think we should probably talk about quickly your Harvey Norman going around the store and guessing the prices. And also, how did you do with that?
I had no idea what I was in for. We've got an app that I wasn't using at the time, but we had a message to tell us what we're doing. I didn't know if I was doing an ad for Harvey Norman or what it was, but I rocked up and you had to guess the prices of everything. And I went okay at it, but Hayden Mulcantini took the chocolates on that one. So,
But mate, look, I think for people that know you, you're one of those clubmen that's fantastic to have around the club. We're lucky to have you, and hopefully you stay around for a long time yet. So Mitch Harsant, Jet 67, thank you.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
So that's a wrap up on this episode of the TA Aerospace Ipswich Jets After the AC, proudly brought to you with thanks to the Ipswich Jets Leagues Club. A big thanks to Mitch for coming in on his lunch break, and with the A Grade boys having a bye this coming weekend, you can come to the BMD Senior Women and Host Plus Cup boys on Sunday the 6th of July, with all three grades, including A Grade, at the reserve the weekend after. So stay tuned, make sure you like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you next time as we bring you all things Ipswich Jets.